Dr. Robin, you are here. uh, Pastor Warren, first of all,
My goodness. What do we say?
just thank you. I feel like we need to be in gratitude for people who have walked into their purpose and are feeding us every single day. I met him because Kevin Powell walked in. I've known him forever. We are birthday twins. And it's ironic. 8 years ago, I was like, Kevin needs a show. And he was on, he was on, but he was busy. And now the word, and I never press anybody. I'm like, when the time is right, you'll be back. You'll be back, because I'm not going anywhere. I always folk think I'm never going anywhere. So stop it. But yeah, he was like my pastor. So I was like, okay, let me bring him on. Cause if that's who you're going to church with, you have evolved. I love this. This man is everything.
Yes, he is. Yes. And I was introduced to him because I am a listener, as you know, of the Karen Hunter show. And so I think it was like January 3rd. I remember thinking, is this a rerun? Is Karen? I mean, she should still be on vacation, but you weren't. And this was the first time he was on your show. And I was texting you and I'm texting other people saying, I don't know who this man is. But I mean, I knew right then. And then, when he was on your show the second time. So he was such a gift. And so unashamed of what he knows to be true. He's paid for it. I mean, in many ways, he's really paid for that truth, as have you and as have I. But what a dynamic, authentic man.
What did you want to pull from him in that pen? Like, what was the impetus? Okay, because we all I hear people all the time like, "Ooh, I want to just talk to them." I never really have a game plan. I just like we don't have a game plan. We haven't talked today.
Right.
I just want to talk with you. This is stuff going on in the world I want to ask you about because you're here. Let's go. What was it that because your show is very you're very specific about what your purpose is with the Dr. Robin show.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, when I heard him on your show, because I understand the insides of the Black church and the way in which so many people who are part of the church, and this is a terrible generalization, but I'm going to make it anyway. There is so much bondage. And there are so many ways that people are, and we've had it happen on your show and my show, but because your show is live, where people want to argue and fight about the word of God and about, what is true and what is not. And so because he's studied, but he has not just studied what someone told him to believe. He also has studied for himself. And so I wanted him to bring that perspective because the topic of the 2 weeks of shows is I've got my mind made up to be free. And so I wanted to talk to him about freedom. And what does it mean to be free? And how does one claim and proclaim and declare freedom, regardless of religion, but particularly because of his role as pastor. Also, he was willing to talk about his own journey, his own mental health journey. And, part of what has made me relatable is because I am not only Dr. Robin and I'm not only the Reverend Dr. Robin, but I'm Robin who has suffered and who has had the floor of my own life just completely fall from beneath me. And so he was willing in ways that I did not know to talk about his own journey of suffering and of reclaiming being a whole human being. We talked about the difference between wholeness and healing, and what are we really seeking and searching for? So I felt, and he delivered more than I could have imagined. He and the other guests, Jay Barnett, who is a former professional football player who tried to die by suicide twice, whose parents were pastors. He grew up in the church. And so and also, he's a football player. And so the way in which you just suck it up. And so he brought his own and he's got a whole thing called Hey Bro, and that's traveling around the country. And then a wonderful woman who is the founder, Lauren, of Black Girls Smile. And so she had her own story of mental health and mental wellness and what tried to rob her smile. And now she is working with thousands, if not millions, of Black girls and women, but particularly Black girls, to claim their joy.
I love it. You guys who have the app, get the SiriusXM app. If you don't have it, you can just download it into your phone or tablet and go to search and then put in Urban View, make that your favorite. And then, of course, go to the Karen Hunter Show, make that your favorite little star. Make sure that's colored in. And then go to, just type in Dr. Robin in the search, boom, and you'll see Sundays and the previous Sunday. But I've made up my mind to be free is last week, and just make that a favorite, as well as the Dr. Robin Show. I love that. Get the app, y'all. It's the way, the algorithms where we can let the world know what we really care about. It's one thing to listen in the car, but the app is where they know for sure
Absolutely.
who you're listening to, whose you are. There's a lot. I wanted to talk about sisterhood and relationships today with you. And how are you feeling really? How are you doing really?
So tell me what you're asking so I can answer.
Yeah. You know, people sitting, you having the bottom drops out a lot. Sometimes it drops out more than once. It's like, if you're living a life, if you're really living a life, things are going to happen, especially if you're living it, you're really going out, you're going to, run into obstacles and things. It's just part of the nature, and things are unexpected. Always things happen that are unexpected. Always. And it comes in waves, and, to sit in it, because we have to sit in it. Some of us run through it and don't acknowledge, which is a defense mechanism unto itself. It's what I think epigenetically has been, you got to just keep picking the cotton, put your head down. Yes, tragedies around you, but you got to keep moving, because, it's got to.
Yes.
For you, you go silent, you take time with yourself. Are those the things that you do?
Yeah, I take time with myself. I spend as much time as I can outside in nature, because nature reminds me of what is true. Both the running of water, the breaking of trees, those trees that are broken still growing. So I do that. I also, depending upon how I'm feeling, you've been talking today and often, which is so important, about what we eat and how what we eat impacts how we feel. So I also pay attention to what I'm eating and how I'm eating and how I'm nurturing and nourishing myself. And I also am careful about who I'm around. I'm very careful about who I am around and who I spend time with, and how available I make myself to people. And that is often misunderstood and judged and not liked. I'm an introvert anyway, which also is confusing to people, because they're like, yeah, but you spend your life, whether it's on radio or television or giving speeches. And that's true. But my nature is a quieter, more reserved nature. I appreciate, Karen, as you're talking about also the floor falling out. I mean, and in this moment, life is good for me, and I'm in a good space and in a good place. And but you're right, things come in cycles. And so I know that part of this cycle of stillness and quietness and abundance in certain ways is so that I can be fueled up for when other things happen. We know that, we've talked about my brother dying. It's only been 4 months suddenly, and other things that have gotten stirred up. But I also have my mind, that's why I did this. I've got my mind made up to be free. And so freedom is a decision. It's not a feeling. It's really a decision. To be free, not about, whether or not I'm I woke up on the right side of the bed or the right side of my issue, but it's really whether or not I've made a decision to claim my divine birthright. And I believe that is to be free for all of us.
What does that look like? I had an amazing conversation on Monday with Dr. Black, and you know, I would work every day. I don't call this work. I would be here every day if, Smith would be here every day, but, he was like, I need my time off. So I was like, all right. But we did come back on January 2nd when most people were still off, because most people were still off. And, the holidays are rough for a lot of folk, and I wanted to be here. We were here on President's Day. We were here on Martin Luther King Day. We're going to be here when most people are not here, because I want to be in places where most people are not going to be there, because this is not a job for me. So, but having Dr. Black on Monday for 3 hours, I was like, oh my goodness, where has he been all my life? But I don't think I was ready for him all my life. I wasn't ready for him until now. Maybe he wasn't ready for him until now. It's like that, and it's okay to not be ready as well. Like,
that's a part of the journey.
Yes.
Yeah,
so how do you get
part of the journey?
How do you get to a place where you are making a decision every day about how your day, because he talked about not just, freedom is jumping into the void without knowing, and then knowing that I am going to be able to change the chemistry of whatever is, like I have the power to create whatever it is I need to have happen in that thing that I'm not sure about.
Yes.
Yeah.
But think about what he was talking about, because I heard it, does have to do with recognizing how powerful, truly powerful we are. So instead of feeling, and we talked about this with my panel, there is this, we trauma bond. We bond with people around trauma. We bond with people around weakness, and we bond with people around abuse. And so if that is what we feed, that is what grows. And so Dr. Black and you and, Pastor Mike, we're all talking, and Jay and Lauren, about the decision to own our power. And owning our power is not because someone told me that I am powerful. It's actually beginning to experience myself as powerful. And there are people who are afraid of that. They've been so wired to feel at the mercy of the court, shall we say, at the mercy of racism, at the mercy of all the isms. And so if I feed that, then I actually am at the mercy, not because it is true, but because I made it true. So is it true that, and I heard you talking to a guest, I'm not even sure which day, but it was, this week, that if we are, slavery is a real thing. We all know that. It happened. People were enslaved, and I was talking to a friend. But if we look at this whole landscape in terms of time, the amount of time that Black people were enslaved is minuscule in comparison to the amount of time that we have reigned as royal, brilliant people. And so, but we don't know that. And so we keep talking about, as if our whole lives have this landscape of being enslaved. That's just a small part. It's a significant part, but it is more significant because we feed it.
Yeah. Yeah. You are what you eat, but you are also what you feed. Dr. Robin is here.
And you are what you think. You Absolutely. Are what you think. So if you think that you are less than, and if you think that, racism is always going to control you and you're never going to get ahead, and that is what you speak, and that is what you think, and that is what you nurture, that is what you will manifest.